How y'all doing, good people? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. If you're stopping by the channel for the first time, please consider subscribing to my channel. And while you're at it, smash that like button for me. I really would appreciate it. Also, hit that post notification bell so that you're notified every time I upload a new video. Be careful down in the comment section of the videos. A lot of spam, a lot of scammers. I will never ask you to contact me by WhatsApp or Telegram. I also do not invest money for my subscribers, so please be careful. Don't get yourself scammed. If you want up to 12 free stocks, Webull is going to give you up to 12 free stocks when you open a new Webull brokerage account. Put any amount of money in that brokerage account. They're going to give you up to 12 free stocks for just trying out their brokerage app. There's a link down in the description box of this video. Go click on that Webull link. Open up your new Webull account today. Go get that free stock. Go get that free money. I'm going to also send you a Webull tutorial video that I did that will walk you through how to use the Webull app to make your first trade. All you got to do is email me. Let me know that you've opened the Webull account, that you've funded the Webull account. And I'm going to go ahead and send you that tutorial video. My email address is down in the description box of the video. Again, guys, thank y'all for taking some time out of your busy schedule to hang out with me for about an hour tonight. And we're going to be talking about a real serious subject, near and dear to my heart. The number one threat that will keep Black Americans from building wealth. We're going to talk about that. I've had an opportunity, guys, to go down this financial pathway of building wealth for 25 years. And I've hit some bumps in the road. I've had some times in my life where I've had to pivot. But through all of that, I gotta say, I thank God for making it to the end and getting to financial freedom. But a lot of us, Black Americans, haven't quite got there. And it's pretty alarming where we currently are placed in this wealth spectrum here in the United States. We're pretty much at the bottom. And I'm going to share some statistics with you just to kick the conversation off. And again, this is not about blaming folks. This is not about making excuses. This is about, in my opinion, giving you information that I've uncovered so that we understand where we currently are, and then coming up with a game plan to change it going forward, right? And then obviously talk about the number one threat. And we will talk about that a lot. But let's just go through a few statistics so that we can kind of get a picture of where we sit right now in this wealth spectrum. Nearly half of African American households are underbanked, while nearly 14% are unbanked completely. What does that mean? Well, in the banking industry, right, there are products and services that banks offer, and people go in there and take advantage of those products and services, right? What this particular statistic is saying is half of Black folks don't even take advantage of that. That means they're underbanked. They're not taking advantage of the full financial tools that our banking industry offers. Furthermore, they're saying there are 14% of Black Americans that completely don't even have a bank account. Don't even take advantage of no banking products. Those are pretty large numbers, guys. You're talking about 50% are underbanked. If we got 35 million black people in this country, 50% are underbanked, of the adults, of course. We got 35 million or so in total, but of the adults, 50% are underbanked, and 14% are completely unbanked. That's a statistic we got to change, because even though some of us believe banks are bad, listen, if we understand this financial system in this country, banks are important in that financial system. In my 25 years of building wealth, I used banks to build wealth, to help me build wealth. I was a banker for 25 years myself in retail and commercial banking. So that's a statistic we have to improve. It's critical that we understand the banking system and how it works. And especially important for us to be able to get in there and leverage those tools to assist us in building our wealth. Let's move on. 50% of African American households do not own any stock or real estate. Now that statistic blew me away, but it makes sense because we only control 4% of the wealth in this country. 96% of the wealth is controlled by somebody else. That is a staggering statistic. 50% of African American households do not own stock or real estate investments. Again, guys, if we're going to build wealth and we're going to try to get assets that produce passive income, guess what? Paper assets and real estate are the biggest asset classes that people build wealth in. Your upper 1% of the wealthiest people in this country either make their money in the stock market in real estate, or they hold their money in the stock market or real estate. So for 50% of African American households not to own any stock, any ETFs, any index funds, and real estate, we got to change that. That's a statistic that's going to keep us down at the bottom of the wealth spectrum. You do understand that, right? That's a staggering statistic. So we got to change that. One more here. African Americans have an estimated $1.6 trillion in spending power. I believe that was from 2022 or 23, one of the two. The projected spending power, projected as we go forward, is over $2 trillion. So right now, we're spending $1.8 trillion. We're spending. Guess what? That puts us in second place on the spending list, only behind Asian Americans. That's it. The difference is when you look at what Asian Americans spend, they spend more of their trillions of dollars on insurance and other financial products. We don't. That's the difference. Although they outrank us in spending, a good portion of their spending goes into financial products. That's the difference, right? But still, a huge number. We're right at the top of the list with spending, but we're at the bottom of the list in other financial categories like net worth, average income, that kind of stuff, right? Those are some staggering statistics. Now let's talk about net worth. The net worth of the typical black household, this was in 2022, was $44,900, guys. That was the average net worth for black households in 2022. And I would venture to say it's not that much different in 2023. Maybe slight bump, but not that much different. But again, that puts us at the bottom. Other groups of people are higher than us. We're at the bottom with not even $50,000 in net worth. So if we have less than $50,000 in net worth, we got no passive income. That means we basically got no assets. Not assets that actually will generate any income. Not with 50,000 net worth. That's not a good number. That's, again, puts us at the bottom of the wealth spectrum. It's just not good, guys. Not very good number. We got to change that, right? We have to change that. I also looked at one last statistic, and then we'll move on. 6% of Black adults in 2023 make over $100,000 a year. 6%, guys. That's very low. That's very low. Again, at the bottom of the income spectrum. I'm talking about percentage-wise. Now, $100,000 is a lot of money, but we only have about 6% of Black adults, Black Americans that are adults, that make $100,000 a year or more. 6%. So it's not a big percentage. Okay, what does that mean? We got some work to do. We got some work to do. I mean, I've just walked you through some categories, some financial categories: net worth, income, right? We talked a little bit about banking services, and really we're underbanked. 50% of Black households are underbanked, and 14% have no banking. No banking. Back to my point several videos ago when I said, why do we always see these check cashing outfits in our neighborhoods? That's why. Because we don't have banking services. We don't have the basic checking and savings account and a relationship with the bank where we can go in and say, hey, got my check, let me deposit it, give me a few dollars back. We don't have that basic stuff. So therefore, we rely on what? Check cashing places, all right? We don't have the banking relationships where we can go in and apply for a loan if we want to buy something that we need. So what do we end up doing? We go to these predatory lenders, these payday type shops, and set up these predatory lenders where they fleece us. They take advantage of us financially. Why? That's the statistic that tells you why. We're underbanked, right? Or we are unbanked. We have to change that. How do we change that? Well, we change it through financial literacy, right? We change it through financial literacy and getting more of us to understand the bank is not your enemy. It's not your enemy. Banks are there to make money. Any company in America is here to make money, guys. Bank is no different. I worked in banking for 25 years. If you didn't notice, I'm a Black guy, an African-American Black guy, right? I worked in banking for 25 years. I know how the banking system works. They're there to make money, guys. If you come in there and you can open a checking account, and if you can follow the financial rules, hey, banks are fine. You know they're there to make money. That's all they're there to do. But I don't care about that. All I care about is, how do I use this bank to get myself to a position where I can get the financial freedom? That's all I cared about. This other stuff, I don't care about. When it's time for me to buy real estate, see, I don't have a problem with going to a bank. Why? Because everything's in line. I got verifiable income through my tax returns, right? I got good credit, so I take care of my credit score. I don't do anything to jeopardize my credit score. And guess what else I have? I have down payment money. That means I got to change my behavior with money, be able to do what? Live on less than what I make, stash my money aside for my down payment, and then boom. But see, a lot of us won't do these three things. So therefore, when we walk into a bank, sometimes we have a bad experience. It's just the way it is. If we are not prepared when we walk in there, we don't have the right ID, we don't understand how a checking account works, we get a debit card, we don't understand how that debit card works, and how they will charge you fees if you use it the wrong way. All of these things we have to learn so that we can be bankable, right? Because for most of us, we're gonna need banks in order to put us in a position to use their financial tools to build our wealth. So if you don't have a bank account out there, guys, whoever you are, if you don't have a bank account, please go get one. Please find out exactly what you need to do to get a bank account. And if there's something preventing you from getting a bank account, maybe your credit, you're in check systems, whatever, get it straightened out and get yourself in a position where you're bankable. It's too many of us, 50% of us are unbanked. Now, people will come up with all kind of excuses why we unbanked and all this stuff. Listen, guys, I worked in banking for 25 years. I dealt with all types of customers, all groups of people. When they came in there and they had the right stuff, we opened the account, period. When they came in there and they had the right stuff and they were looking for a loan, we gave it to them. We're in business to make money. Banks are in business to make money. They're not in business to just be around here doing stupid stuff. They're in business to make money. And if you come in there and you got the right stuff, right, they're gonna open the account for you. My recommendation, if you don't have a traditional banking account, go get you one. And figure out what you need to do to get that account open, because that's where it starts. It starts with the basic checking account. And then you start using other financial tools within that bank. If we do that, this statistic right here, we're going to improve it. There's no reason why 50% of Black Americans should be unbanked. Definitely no reason why 14% of us should be unbanked and 50% of us underbanked. So let's figure that out. We got to get to a point where we get more involved in the banking system, because it's a critical part of our overall financial system, right? Now, the major thing, we have to start getting ourselves more comfortable with is the financial literacy part, because that's the only way we're going to change the net worth, right? That's the only way we're going to change the income. Only 6% of Black adults are making over $100,000 a year. That's low. That's a low percentage compared to other groups, guys. It is. Go out and do the statistics. Go run the statistics yourself. Go look it up online yourself. It's low. And a lot of that is attributed to lack of financial literacy. Lack of this case that the more education you have, I'm not telling you this is my case I'm making. I'm just telling you what overall out there in this world, people think the more education you have gives you a better chance of increasing the level of salary. Now, I believe the median household income for Black families, Black American families, is around $46,000. That's sort of like the median household income for Black American families, about 46,000, right? So again, not very high on the median income per family. It's not very high on that totem pole. we're sort of at the bottom. So pretty much every financial category, we're at the bottom except spending. Spending, we're at the top, 1 or 2, right? So that tells me we don't really have a huge problem with making money. The kicker for us is what we spend our money on. Like I mentioned, Asian Americans, they spend a lot too, but a big portion of what they spend goes into financial products. So we probably want to shift that to financial products as well. I've already told you where 50% of Black American families don't even own any type of stocks or real estate. You got to understand, guys, those 2 asset classes make up probably most of the wealth in this country. Paper assets, real estate, those 2 right there are 2 of the big 3. The other of the big 3 is businesses. So if only 50% of us own stocks, paper assets, and real estate, there's no wonder we only control 4% of the wealth in this country, because half of us don't even have any net worth. I've already told you the net worth is around $44,900. That's the average net worth for Black families. So again, if you connect the dots, it's not surprising we only control 4% of the wealth in this country. When you connect the dots, when you look at 50% of us are underbanked, 14% of us are unbanked, only 6% of us make over $100,000 a year. When you look at our whole population of Black Americans, only 6% of us make over $100,000 a year. When you look at the average net worth for a Black American family, it's only $44,900, right? When you look at the average income for a family, Black American family, it's around 46 grand and some change, right? And then when you look at the big one, the asset building things, 50% of us don't even participate. We don't even participate, right? Let's just say we got 35 million people, so what, 17.5 million of us don't even participate. We don't even have any stocks. We don't even have paper assets. We don't even have real estate. Now, hear me out. I know we got some historical reasons for that, and I've covered that before, so I'm not going to go down that path. I know we got historical reasons for that. I know there's some very, very, very serious historical reasons why we're a little bit behind the 8 ball. But I'm here to concentrate on 2023, where there is no reason why we can't get in front of the 8 ball. We're spending almost $2 trillion a year, not on financial products. So guess what? Let's take $1 trillion of that $2 trillion and start putting in some financial products. Here's 2: paper assets and real estate, right? I'm not saying go out and do anything crazy or a new concept or any of this crazy stuff people are out here telling you and asking you to do. I'm not telling you to do that. All I'm saying is redirect $1 trillion of this almost $2 trillion we're spending to make someone else wealthy. $1 trillion. It changes the game for us as Black Americans. It changes the financial game. Right? That's all we got to do, guys. See, it would be one thing if we were at the bottom of the spending list too. We just didn't have the money to spend. But guys, we're at the top of that list. So I don't want to hear I don't want to hear nothing about as a collective we can't make money. That is not true. That is not true. Not true. You don't get to spend almost $2 trillion if collectively Black Americans don't make any money. Now, I get it. A lot of us look at that 6% of black adults that make over 100, that's low. That's low, I agree. But guess what? A lot of us probably under the 100K, right? Like I said, average household income is a hair under $47,000. So not a lot of income, not a lot of income, but the income we do make, we spend it. We spend it. And unfortunately, we're not spending it on financial products because we would not have 50% of us that don't own any paper assets or no real estate. That's staggering, guys, because that's where the wealth is. That's where that 96%, that 96%, guess where most of that wealth comes from? Paper assets and real estate. That's where most of it comes from. And when you look at the net worth of other groups that are higher than us, guess where most of that net worth comes from? Paper assets, real estate. Just telling you. So it doesn't surprise me we're at the bottom, because when you look at the statistics and they say 50% of us don't even own stocks, don't even own real estate, there's no way you can climb that wealth spectrum. There's no way you can climb that wealth ladder and change anything unless we get to a point where we can redirect some of our dollars. I'm asking us to redirect $1 trillion. Black Americans in 2024, let's redirect $1 trillion of our spending power. Let's redirect it and put it in assets like paper assets and real estate. Those are the two. That's how we change the game. That's how we change the game, right? So the number one threat that will keep Black Americans from building wealth is our spending habits. That's the number one threat to us, guys, is our spending habits. The number one threat is that, oh, we don't make enough money. That's too pity on them. They don't make enough money. That's not true. That's not true. We can make more. Don't get me wrong. We can definitely make more. But $2 trillion, man, that's not anything to shake a stick at. That's a lot of money. Almost $2 trillion. My ask, and I ask you guys to consider this in your own homes. Evaluate how you're spending your money. Because statistics tell us, at least spending statistics tell us, it's not an income problem. Now, of course, some of you do have income problems, but I'm talking about collectively as a group. Collectively as a group, we're spending almost $2 trillion a year, guys. That's not a problem with money. That's a behavior problem. It's not a making money problem. It's a behavior problem. It's a behavior with money problem. We got to stop spending money to make other people wealthy. That's the problem. That's our problem. That's why we're at the bottom of the financial totem pole. That's why we don't have any wealth to pass forward to anybody else. That's why we live in paycheck to paycheck. It's because our spending habits need to change. We have to change the way we look at money and how we use money and how we ultimately spend money. We really do. I think if we do that, we change the game. All of these statistics I just talked about, they change. It's a game changer. Now, a lot of folks might say, well, golly, well, how do I do that? How do I mean, I've been doing it this way forever. I don't know any other way. That's why we do have lack of financial literacy. How do I get my financial literacy better? Well, I will walk you through what I would do, right? I would walk you through what I would do. First thing I would do is I would sit down and I'd take a look at my income and I'd take a look at my expenses. It starts with that, guys. The transformation of your filter system to have a better behavior with money starts with you sitting down and having a real, honest conversation about your spending habits. That's what it is. Now, if you don't want to do that, then you're not going to change. If you're not willing to do that basic exercise, and listen, you don't need nobody to tell you how to do that. It's pretty dang on simple. Sit down with a pen and a piece of paper or a pencil and a piece of paper and write down the income that you got coming in every month. And then right next to it, you write down what you're spending that money on every month. And here's the test. When you get to the bottom, if what you make, that number, is less than what you spend number, that's a problem. That's where you start. That's where the transformation starts. That's where the reprogramming starts. That's a problem. And the second thing I got to do, let's say I get to my expenses and they're more than what my income is. Then I got to seriously think about which of these expenses are vital to living and which are not. And I just call them needs and wants. Which are vital to living? Okay, food, that's vital to living. I gotta eat. True, food is vital to living. But you going out to a restaurant 10 or 15 times a month is not crucial or vital to living. You going to the grocery store, purchasing your groceries and bringing them home and cooking them, that's vital to living. Not going to the restaurant 15 times a month. That's a want, guys. You got to cut that out. You got to understand 50% of Black Americans, families, don't own any real estate and don't own any paper assets. Those are the two biggest asset classes to build wealth. 50% of us own none. So we got to do something really, really, really radical to change this. And it starts with every one of us individually and as a family. That's the only thing gonna change it, guys. I don't care how fancy you want to get. You can go to all these high-priced seminars. You can read all these books. You can listen to all these guys on YouTube. You can do all that. Go right ahead. But if you don't do that fundamental exercise in your family or you as an individual, you're not going to change anything. That's where it starts. You got to sit down and really evaluate what you're spending your money on. That's what changes the game. Once you sit down and say, oh my goodness, I'm living on more than what I make. No wonder I ain't got no emergency fund. No wonder my net worth is zero. No wonder I got some bad credit because I've been using my credit cards, and unfortunately that was my emergency fund and I ran them up and now I'm late paying. All of that stems from what? Your behavior with money, the way you spend your money. So we got to get to the grassroots of financial literacy, guys. The grassroots of financial literacy is not, oh, teach me how to buy real estate. Oh, teach me how to. That's not the grassroots, guys. The grassroots is changing our behavior with money based on our income we got coming in and what we sending out. That's grassroots. When you get that right, when you can right size that, when I can have more income than I have expenses, and I got a positive number at the bottom, that's when I can start thinking about buying real estate and buying paper assets and all this other stuff. But if I ain't got that fundamental, basic thing done, you're fooling yourself. Because number one, you ain't gonna have no money to buy real estate, and you ain't gonna have no money to put in paper assets if you living on more than what you make. So start there. And then when you get that corrected, then when you get yourself in a position where you're living on less than what you make, then it's time to put you a plan in place. And part of that plan should include an ongoing process where you are verifying and double checking that personal budget every single week, every single month, and you're sticking to that plan. Those are the first two things you got to do. Live on less than what you make and live on a plan. Y'all know that. If y'all been listening to me anytime, y'all already know those two are first. Not go out and buy a piece of real estate that you can't afford to buy because you don't got no money. You got to figure out the basic stuff first. Once you figure out the basic, then it's time to elevate to something else. And then obviously you got to stay out of Debt, guys. You got to stay out of consumer debt. But see, that's why number one and number two is so important, because if you don't got number one and number two right, guess what? You'll never stay out of debt. You'll always be in debt. You'll always be in debt. I talk to some people, they've been in debt for their whole adult life. They've been in debt their whole adult life. Why? Because those first two steps of the 4 financial principles in order to start building more wealth, they didn't get those 2 accomplished. They skipped those 2. They just went straight into trying to buy assets, but had no understanding of the basic stuff you need to have in place. You got to be prepared. That's part of financial literacy, guys. That's part of financial literacy. Another part of financial literacy is being able to go in, like I mentioned earlier, and be bankable. We got to become bankable. I know a lot of us, oh, I don't want no debt. I'll never. That's great. That's great. But the world I live in, I use banks to build wealth. As long as you know how to use banks to build wealth, that's okay. Now, that doesn't mean you have to use them, but I think it's a good practice to be able to have your basic financial tools at a bank at your disposal. Basic checking account, savings account for your emergency fund, right? Those are the basic things you need. Basic checking account. Why do I need a checking account? Because that's my operating account. That's how I run my company. And when I'm not talking about your prototypical company, some big business, I'm talking about you're the company. Your household is your company. You should treat your household like a company. So if I own a company and I got a company, which is my household, I need to have a checking account, an operating account to be able to run the household out of. That's a business. It's just like any other business. So I got to have a checking account so I can operate out of, right? And then from there, I got to have other accounts that shoot off from that checking account, right? Okay, here's my checking account in the middle. That's the operating account, right? Money comes into that operating account. Guess what I do? Pay myself first. I take money out of that operating account. I put it over there in that emergency fund because I'm building my emergency fund. Boom, money goes to the emergency fund, right? And then as I continue to get more financial literate, I have other accounts that I put. Here's my account right here for my investing in paper assets. Every month, money's going to come out of the operating account, go into that account, and then that account is going to send it over to my brokerage account. Then I got another account. Maybe that's the account to buy the house. Maybe I don't own a home and I want to own one at some point. Not everybody wants to own one, but if you want to own one, you should have a separate account where you're stashing money away, taking money out of that operating account, sticking it over in that account, because that's the account that I'm building up for my down payment on me a home at some point in the future. I don't know when in the future, but I'm going to save money for it. And I'm going to speak this thing into existence. I'm going to work this thing into existence. I'm going to pray this thing into existence. But it all starts with that operating account. That's where the money comes. And then you branch it off. Now I'm running my household like a company, like a professional. I'm not riding here with stuff all under the mattress, all in my closet, all in the empty coffee can in the back of the kitchen cabinet. It's in my safe. I don't trust the banks. Listen, man, if you listen to all this propaganda, we're going to stay broke. See, they put all this propaganda out there so they can keep us broke. And we got to be smart enough to realize it's just propaganda. It's just propaganda, guys. Right? Let's take advantage of our financial tools. Banking is one of them, right? So we got living on less than what we make, living on a plan, which includes our personal budget, which includes our banking stuff, which includes our operating account. All of that falls under our plan, right? And then the third thing is we stay out of consumer debt. How do we stay out of consumer debt? We manage the first two. Anybody I've talked to that has managed those first two steps, they're not in consumer debt. I had a great conversation with a lovely lady today, early this morning. She filled my day with joy. because she's debt free. She is debt free. And she is on her way to financial freedom. And she is on her way to home ownership. Why can she do all of that? Because she's managing number one and number two. She got those right. Because when we went through her income and expenses, guess what? She had plenty of money to the plus. She was living on less than what she makes. So now when you're living on less than what you make, you take that surplus and now you make things happen in the financial world. But if you ain't got no surplus, you got to figure out a way to get some surplus. She had surplus. She was debt free. I was so proud of her. We talked about a good little plan for her that she's going to execute, and stay in touch with me because she's just such a wonderful person. And I love that, man. I love that. I love talking with people who get it. Don't get me wrong. I love talking with people who haven't got it yet. And that's the reason they're calling me and getting with me. Don't get me wrong. But man, it's just an extra little feeling when you talk with someone who is doing the things that they need to do in order to build wealth. Didn't make no excuses. Of course, she's hit bumps in the road in her journey, but guess what? She didn't make no excuses. She just said, "Hey, here's where I want to get to. How do I get there? Help me get there." And that's what we did. So that number one and number two is critical, guys. That's how you stay out of consumer debt. There's no secret to it. See, I have no need for consumer debt if I take care of one and two. Well, inappropriate consumer debt. At some point in our life, we may need to get a car loan because everybody ain't got a whole bunch of money to buy a car. I get it. But this credit card debt stuff, there ain't no excuse for that. No excuse. No excuse for credit card debt other than we're living above our means. We're living above our means if we got credit card debt. That's what that means. So the credit card debt part of consumer debt, that's a no-no. If I got to get a car loan every now and then, that's life. I manage it into one and two. That's why it's critical to have that personal budget. That's why it's critical to have that operating account. See, if I got that operating account, I got my budget I'm looking at, guess what? I'm going to know how much I can afford. But most of us don't got one and two. What we do is we go to the dealership and we get all googly-eyed and we let these people at the dealership talk us into more car than we need because they don't really care, right? Talk us into more car than we need. And then all of a sudden, our eyes doing all the thinking for us, and we ain't using the filter system. We're just using our feelings. Now we're in our feelings and our eyes. Oh, I love that. Before you know it, you get in the month one, month two of that car payment. You're like, that's hurting. I really shouldn't have got this. But it's too late now because you're upside down. Too late. You're upside down. You're too late. But had you been operating over here on one and two and on that budget, that operating account, guess what? You would have made a smarter financial decision. But see, when people don't have those two things, they're not living on less than what they make. They don't have the plan that includes the personal budget, the operating account. They get themselves in the weeds quite often. So you got to stay out of consumer debt. And then obviously the last one of the four horsemen is save and invest. That's what we're not doing. We're really not doing that as a group. Black Americans as a group in this country, we're not saving and we're not investing. The statistics tell us that 50% of us don't own any real estate and we don't own any paper assets. But yet and still, we talk about wealth. We talk about getting the wealth. Guys, we're not getting the wealth without those two. Most of us gonna need to have those two things, and a lot of them, in order to get the wealth. So if 50% of us ain't even started, that's why we're behind the eight ball too. Now I know those historical reasons are very important, and I'm not minimalizing those guys. I know slavery was horrible, right? I know that. I know the Jim Crow laws. I know redlining and all the other stuff that's been done to Black Americans in this country. But again, I'm a guy who comes to the table with solutions. I'm not a guy that comes to the table with problems. I'm a solution-based individual. I'm Black too. I got ancestors that were in slavery too. I got great grandparents that were in slavery too. I get it. But I built wealth anyways. Why? Because I did those 4 fundamental principles I just told you. Live on less than what you make, live on a plan, stay out of consumer debt, save and invest, over and over and over and over and over till I got the freedom. Those are the 4 important, those are the 4 most important financial aspects of my life. Those 4 categories. Because I knew if I could do those right and consistently long enough, I'm gonna be free, right? And that's what I did. So I know you can do it. I know we can do it. We got the money over here. We just got to redirect it, right? We got plenty of money over here to do that. We're spending almost $2 trillion per year making someone else wealthy. That's all it is, guys. We're spending almost $2 trillion a year making somebody else wealthy while we, as a group, are at the bottom of the wealth spectrum. We have to redirect those dollars. How do we redirect them? I've already walked you through the plan you need to put yourself on in order to do your part. That's the plan, guys. It ain't nothing fancier than that. See, a lot of us think, oh, golly, that seems so simple. It ain't simple because it's a behavior change. This plan that I just walked you through to change your life financially is all based on behaviors. And until you start with this behavior, your behavior with money, you ain't gonna build wealth. Now, you might read a lot of books, like I said. You might go pay some guy $2,500 for a real estate course. You may do all of that. Go right ahead. But you ain't gonna do anything with any of it. Why? Because your financial literacy, you skip steps. You can't just skip these steps and then go to being a real estate tycoon. That ain't how it works. You can't skip these steps and then just go being a paper asset billionaire. It don't work that way, guys. You got to go through the steps, the financial literacy steps. Right? You just don't skip those. And most people that do skip them, they crash and burn. They skip this, and then all of a sudden they hit a home run. The problem is, since they already have a raggedy behavior with money when they didn't have no money, they skip the financial literacy steps. They mess around and get some money. Guess what they do with it? They blow it all because why? They financial literacy, their behavior with money is missing, is raggedy. Why do you think a lot of lottery winners go through all of their money? Or people beat them out of it. Why? Because they lack the basic financial literacy skills. They lack it. So people come and take advantage of them and sell them on a dream and steal their money, or they just go blow it. They got no financial literacy basics done, right? They go from raggedy relationship with money, winning the lottery, and guess all that is? That's just a raggedy relationship with money with no money, to a raggedy relationship with money with a lot of money, which is a disaster. And most lottery winners, that's what you get. Not just lottery winners, but let's look at pro sports, specifically football and basketball. I just recently saw a story on a cat, played in the NBA. Cat made $68 million, dead broke. Why is he dead broke? Lacked the financial literacy basics. Raggedy relationship when he didn't have no money, raggedy relationship with money when he had the 68 million. That's how he blew it all. About 70% of black athletes, that's part of our group, guys. 70% of black athletes, African-American athletes, go broke after their playing days are over. 3 to 5 years after their playing days are over. Why? Lack of financial literacy steps, lack of financial literacy training, lack of it. Go from raggedy relationship with money at broke stage, get these big old gigantic contracts, they still got raggedy relationship with money. See, they ain't changed their behaviors. They just hit a windfall. See, the thing you got to understand, guys, unless you change the behaviors, I don't care how much money you get, you're going to blow it. You're going to blow it. Why? Because you lack the basics. You can't skip this stuff, man, when it comes to money. When it comes to building wealth, you can't skip this stuff. This is the building blocks. This is the thing that keeps you grounded. This is the thing that keeps you from being swindled out of your money. Oh, no, my agent takes care of all that. They take care of the money, and I don't know where the money is. Those are the guys that go broke. Because guess what? Why they get tricked to, oh, just focus on playing ball. Just get focus on that, and we'll take care of all the administrative. They stealing money from them the whole time. But that's because we lack financial literacy. It's just a microcosm of the bigger Black American population. Little football players, baseball, basketball players, not so much baseball players because we're not as heavyweighted in baseball as we is with Black Americans in football and basketball. So mostly in football and basketball, go look at the statistics. And that's just a microcosm of the larger Black American population, right? All I'm telling you is the only way we change that, the only way we curtail, not even really curtail our spending, just redirect the dollars. It's okay to spend it, but put it in financial products that build wealth for you. That's what the Asian Americans do. All I'm saying is we got to get better at that too. If we want to get ourselves off the bottom of this financial spectrum, we only control 4% of the wealth in this country, guys. There's 96% of wealth being controlled by somebody else. The only way we're going to change that is we got to redirect those spending dollars. We got to redirect them and put them in assets. Like real estate, paper assets, and businesses. Those are the big three. But before we can do that, guess what? We got to get these financial literacy basics out of the way, change our behavior. So all I'm asking you to do is to adapt those 4 behaviors. And then from there, guys, sky's the limit for us. If we as a group, a collective group, will adapt those financial behaviors, we will change the game in this country for African Americans' wealth. Why are you not talking about any other population of people? Because Black people last. That's why. If we were first, second, I probably wouldn't spend any time on it, guys. But since we're dead last, that's probably where I'm going to spend some time from time to time on this channel. I'm not going to apologize for that. I'm doing this for a reason. We're in last place, guys. Now, we can continue to be in last place if we want. Go right ahead, because America do not care. Trust me. Ain't nobody in America going to feel sorry for you, Black folks. Nobody going to feel sorry for you. I promise you that. No one's feeling sorry for you. Ain't nobody going to give you nothing. Ain't nobody going to give us reparations, because I know that's what a lot of us think coming. It ain't. Don't hang your hat on reparations. Hang your hat on getting yourself disciplined, consistent, and patient. Doing these 4 financial principles. Right? That's the wealth plan. Until you get those 4 things right, ain't no need of learning nothing else, guys. Because it ain't going to make any sense to you. You got to have those 4 financial building blocks for any of this other stuff to make sense. And that's only changing the way we think about money, changing our behavior with money, changing our spending habits. That's the thing that's dragging us out. That's our number 1 threat, guys. If you didn't catch that already. Our spending habits. That's our number 1 threat to our wealth going forward. If we do not change our spending habits, we will not build wealth as a group. We will always be in last place on that financial spectrum. If we don't change, and nobody gonna help us change them, because they love that we spending almost $2 trillion making them wealthy. Now, if that's the avenue we want to go down as a race, let's go down it. I'm good because I know better. I know better. So I do better because I know better. I do better because I know those 4 financial principles. I don't skip them. I live my life on those 4 financial principles even now. I live on less than what I make. I always have a plan. I got my operating account at the bank, and then I have my other accounts off of my operating account, my ancillary accounts. But the operating account is the one. I pay myself first. Comes in that operating account, pay myself first. Straight to investments. Live my lifestyle on what's left. That's it. Not the other way around. I don't get my money in my operating account and I go to the Bahamas for the weekend. I go to Ruth Chris. I go to Papa Do's. I go to the nail salon. Oh, I go buy me a pair of Jordans. And then I wake up and say, well, okay, what's left? Oh, okay. Now I go ahead and invest with what's left. That's not how I operate my operating account. When money comes in my operating account, I pay myself first through investments. Dollar cost average in. I tuck money over in the emergency fund. I tuck money over in the reserve fund. That's what I do, man. Because I understand all this other crap we be buying, it's not gonna take care of me when I get to the golden age. When I get to the golden years, it's not gonna take care of me. If I ain't got no assets, I'm out of luck. I'm out of luck. And this really wonderful lady that I spoke with today, she knew that. That's why she was calling me. That's why her and I was having that one-on-one, because she said, you know something, I'm a little more up in age, and right now I'm doing great because I love what I do. But I know at some point, I may not be able to do that. Even though I love it, I may not be able to do it as I get up in age. I need to create some assets. And then she also said, you know something else? The reason I want to create assets. And I was like, why? I want to pass those assets on to my family. Come on, man. Come on. Come on now. Come on. Come on. That's what we should be talking about. She wasn't talking about, oh yeah, I want to do this so I can go buy me a... No. She said, I want to build this wealth so one, I can protect myself for the rest of my life. But when I pass on and I leave this place, I want to be able to move. I want this to move to my family. Come on now. Come on. But see, that's how you build generational wealth. You build generational wealth by you building wealth first. And then you teaching those who you passing that wealth to, you got to teach them these 4 financial principles. You got to teach them. Hey, you got to learn this. And you got to show me you know what you're doing. I'm going to inspect it. That's how you build generational wealth. How do you think people pass down that wealth, guys? They pass down the wealth because they never touch the principle. The principle is always generating what? Income. Principle. The principle is always generating interest or income, but they never touch the principle. So what they do is, these wealthy folks, they have assets, and those assets they protect, but those assets generate income. So what they do is they don't touch the principle, they just live on the income. And then when they move on and leave this place, they take the assets, they move it on to that next generation. Now they've already taught this next generation, don't touch the principle. You only live on the interest. Same thing I'm telling y'all about these 4 financial principles. It's the same process. You got to teach them these 4 financial principles. And then when you pass on wealth to the next generation, they'll know this wealth has to be passed on to the generation after me. So I can't touch the principle. I've learned how to just live on the interest. That's how wealth passes down from generation to generation, guys, just like that. But until we learn these 4 basic financial principles, ain't gonna be no wealth to pass on. Ain't gonna be no principle. It's gonna be nothing. Nothing. Right now, we're in trouble. Big trouble. Bottom of the financial totem pole. And I've sat here for a good period of time and gave you a solution. Now, if you don't want to receive that solution, then that's shame on you, not on me. My job is to give you the solution. It's your job whether you want to take the solution or not. My job is to give you the solution that I believe is appropriate. Now, you can find your own solutions if you want to, but if they don't involve those four things, you're fooling yourself. You're fooling yourself. Your job now is to do what? Do your part in taking $1 trillion out of this almost $2 trillion that we're going to spend in 2024 and redirect your part to what? Assets. You're going to spend it anyways. Either I can spend it on Jordans, I can spend it on Gucci, I can spend it on restaurants, I can spend it on trips, I can spend it on gambling, I can spend it on drugs, I can spend it on alcohol, I can spend it on cigarettes. That's up to you, man. But none of those things I just mentioned, they're not going to take care of you if you can't work. They're not going to take care of you when you get to the golden years. Then none of those things are going to take care of you. They're not. So redirect your dollars, guys. Start coming up with a plan to redirect them dollars. Number one, sit down, put that plan together, get that operating account. If you ain't got a bank account, guys, or if you're not utilizing your banking relationship the right way, change it. Change it. Stop looking at the bank as some evil entity. It ain't no more evil than any of these other companies you go spend a bunch of money at. Ain't no more evil than them. Trust me, they're not. It's a business. They're in business to make money. You come in there with the right attitude, with the right credentials, with the right stuff, they will give you whatever you need because they're there to make money. But if you come in there all sideways and ain't prepared and done messed up your credit and you don't check systems and you got to fix all that. They're not going to make no exception for you. You got to fix all that. And the reason you got all that is because you missed all these steps I just went through. You done missed these 4 financial steps, so everything in turmoil for you financially. The only way you reel that back in, you got to start from the beginning and go through these steps. Or you'll never reel it in. Oh, I'm going to get me a trade line. I'm going to fix my credit through a trade line. I got this guy say I give him $500. He'll get everything off of there. Maybe he will. But guess what? You'll be right back in that same place. Why? Because you ain't fixed the behavior. Right? You just ignored the behavior. See, you ain't changed the behavior that got you in the first place with bad credit. See, that's why I try to tell you guys, I don't care if you take the easy route and get some trade line or some guy online that sell you some dream. That's okay. Go ahead. But guess what? Eventually you're going to go back to bad credit again. Why? Because you never fixed the behavior. You got to fix the behavior. You got to fix the reason why you got in bad credit in the first place. If you never fix that, you are doomed to repeat what you didn't fix. So you got to understand, guys, we can look for all these shortcuts, and they're out there. There are plenty of guys and gals out there on all these social media platforms. They are ready for y'all. They're going to take every dime you got that you give them, and they ain't going to give you nothing. And then all of a sudden you're going to be running around, oh, I got scammed. And again, guys, I'm not demeaning somebody getting scammed. All I'm saying is, if we get our financial house in order and we get our behaviors with money right, we lessen the opportunity for people taking advantage of us. But as long as we're trying to skip steps and take shortcuts, we open ourselves up to more harm than good. That's all I'm saying. We open ourselves up to more harm than good when we try to skip steps and go the shortcut route. I keep telling y'all that. We got to stop looking for shortcuts. That's why we're in last place on every financial statistic except spending. We're in last place. Got to stop looking for shortcuts. We got to get down here, roll our sleeves up, and do the work. Do the work. 4 financial principles is the work. That's the work. Pretty cut and dry. Live on less than what I make. Live on a plan. Stay out of consumer debt, save and invest. Those are the financial literacy basic steps to get you to financial freedom. Basic steps. If you're not doing those, guys, you're doing yourself a disservice. Well, I appreciate you guys for hanging in there with me tonight. I know I went over my hour, but as you can see, I'm passionate about this stuff. I'm passionate about bringing information to you guys and then offering up some solutions. I don't have all the solutions in the world. There are other solutions out there, but I'm a solutions-based guy. That's what I do. I have a problem in my life. I have an issue in my life. I have a puzzle in front of me. My job is to solve it and move forward. Life is not going to slow down for me. It's not going to slow down for you. 2024 coming, whether you're ready or not, it's coming. There ain't nothing you can do to stop it. My recommendation is get yourself prepared for it. Get yourself prepared. Get yourself in a position where you have dedicated yourself to getting your financial life together and starting with these 4 financial principles. Once you do that, then you're ready to transition into other things financially. But that first. And then make a commitment, your part. We got a group of us. Each one of us has to make a commitment that we're going to redirect $1 trillion to change our financial situation in this country, and for not just for us guys, but for future generations. Wouldn't it be sad that all of us at some point leave this earth and we don't pass on nothing? No knowledge, no money, no assets, no nothing to the next generation. But every other race group, every other group doing that, but us. That's a shame, guys. That's not the legacy I want to leave for my children. That's not the legacy I want to leave for my family. That's not the legacy I want to leave for Black Americans. Because we're proud people. We've been through a lot. Our ancestors been through a lot. We've been through a lot. We have. But I'm here to tell you tonight, we can change all of that. We can change it. I don't care what other groups are doing. I don't care what other groups say. We got $2 trillion over here we spending. Let's redirect some of that money, man. Let's stop making these other people wealthy, man. Let's redirect some of that money. Do your part. I'm going to do my part. If you want them 12 free stocks from Webull, guys, click on that link down in the description box. Webull will give you up to 12 free stocks for just trying out the brokerage app. And for you guys that don't know, those are paper assets. They're going to give you up to 12 free paper assets for trying out their brokerage account. So if you're interested in that, link down below. If you do open it and you do fund it, send me an email and I'll send you a Webull tutorial video to kind of walk you through how to use the app to make your first trade. It's not going to be a video about every nook and cranny in the app. It's just going to show you the basic stuff to make a trade. So if you're interested in that free video, drop me an email. My email address is down in the description box. Let me know you've opened that Webull account. Let me know you funded it. Hit the thumbs up for me, guys, as you get out of here. I'm getting ready to punch out too, but as you guys get ready to punch out of here, hit that thumbs up for me. I really would appreciate it. I appreciate you guys rocking with me, and I'm sure a lot of you guys appreciate me. So by appreciating me, hit that thumbs up for me. I really would appreciate it. Thank you very much. And before I get out of here, I do want to say thank you to everybody that sent in a super chat. I apologize, I didn't get you right at the beginning, but I don't want to lose my train of thought. So I try to get you guys at the end, but I want to say thank you. Obviously, your hard-earned money, you felt like you got value out of this. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Guys, you know I'll be back tomorrow night, so I'm going to try to get myself on here at the same time every night going forward, so that way People kind of know when I'm here. So I'm thinking 6 o'clock, somewhere like that, maybe 5 or 6 o'clock. I'm gonna narrow it down at some point once my schedule thins out, but I'm gonna be on here again tomorrow. So different topic, but we're gonna be talking about, you know what we talk about, building wealth. So it's gonna be a topic about building wealth. So I hope you guys check back in with me tomorrow. Thoughts become things. If you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hands. You guys keep chasing your greatness. Never stop believing in yourself. And I'm going to catch you on the next video. Peace.